everyone. So I generally put videos that focus more on mobility and on flexibility, but it is also really important to think of the stability. And so here the focus is going to be mostly on supporting long muscular lines for the stability of our body, which is very important in general, but as we grow older, our muscles don't kind of build up quite so fast, so we have to kind of sustain them with more regular exercise. And what we'll be doing is basically a full body muscular workout without any tools. The only things we'll need are a mat or something soft underneath, sticky that doesn't slip, and a piece of wall. As you can see, my mat is already right next to the wall, and then we'll just use our own body weight. And I'll divide it into segments for specific areas of the body. So we'll start with kind of complete core sections, long sections, diagonals, and then the back of the body. And then slowly we'll progress on. But I'll do this one first. A good base, a good solid base, a good solid base. So please come to lie on your back. And there'll be different degrees of difficulties. And I'll just give you the options as we go along. So slide a hand underneath the lower back and kind of curve that most of us have when we lie down. It doesn't need to disappear completely, but that means you're already engaging your core a little bit. You can feel it. And you're going to keep that position of the middle of your trunk and the middle of your back the whole way through. Now lift your legs up right above your hips, and whenever they move back up, this is exactly where I would like them to be. Extend your toes, but then keep the feet extended, but the toes now are flexed. Now, a greater degree of difficulty is with your arms raised, long, hovering just above the floor. And if you want to make things a little bit easier because you're tired or you're just getting started, then put your arms next to your body. And you're going to do repetitions, anything between 15 and 30 of them, possibly moving up to 40 as you've kind of built up some base strength along the way. Now this can take a few days, a few weeks, a few months. So let's check the back. And then you're going to lower one leg almost to the ground, lift it back up, and do the other one. And you're going to do that. So the repetitions are 10 per leg, 15 per leg, however many you do. And the whole time through, if you can, trying to breathe pretty smoothly. So for this one, I'm generally doing about 20 of them. Today, because I'm just demoing, I'll just do 10. So when you're done, you'll finish. Legs stay straight up above your pelvis. It may be useful to do this with a mirror or with a piece of glass somewhere nearby to check the positioning is kind of in the right place. Again, degrees of difficulties, more difficult arms behind you stretched, hovering above the ground, and a little bit easier, arms touching the ground, long towards the bottom of your mat. And all we're going to do is we're going to lift the legs and the pelvis straight up, legs, just a tiny little bit. And this is going to work like a really specific portion of your abs between the belly button and the ribs. And it's not easy not to swing, but that's really what makes this exercise efficient. Again, you can do anything between 10, 20, 30. And it's kind of easier to get this over and done with. You'll feel it pretty quickly. Good. A little break if you'd like. You can pause the video if that's the case. Otherwise, moving on to the next exercise, again, keeping that middle of the spine closer to the mat. We're going to keep our knees above the hips, and the knees are going to stay there the entire time. Arms, still 2 options, depending on how you're feeling about it. And all you're going to do is extend the legs in a diagonal and then pull the knees back above your hips. Again, same count, maybe 10, 20, 30 eventually. And this is going to be like a larger portion of your abs because it's more weight and more length that needs to be supported. So you can see my hands somewhere between the top of the pubis, the base of your ribs is where you'll feel the action. Again, I'm going to only do 10 for the sake of demonstration. And notice, knees are staying above the hips. And now we're going to keep the feet together, open the knees wide, and extend the legs in that diagonal. Keep the feet together, open the knees wide, extend the legs in the diagonal. Open the knees, keep the feet together. Again, 10, 15, 20, 30. But we keep that middle of the spine close to the mat. Again, if you can, keeping your breath pretty steady and smooth. Again, I'll just do 10 for the sake of exercise demonstration. Checking in, knees above the hips, middle of the spine. We're going to interlace the hands behind the head. And now we're going to do the diagonal abdominals. It's starting to get warm for me. And let's keep the knees always in this position. So whichever knee is going to stay bent, one leg is going to extend, but the other one stays really above the hip. The body has a tendency to kind of do this, and we want to avoid that. We want to keep the knee that's bent in its position. So we're going to extend the left leg, left elbow towards the right knee. Bring the knees back together. And then switch. Right leg is long, right elbow to left knee. And again, you can do 10, 15, 20 on each side. This is what I feel the most from the current section of exercises we've done. Keep your shoulder blades as much off as possible. 10 for this. And then take a little moment to soften everything. Let's roll over to the side. You're probably already feeling quite warm, so I definitely am. I'm going to take a layer off. Good, so the next section is going to involve a little bit of wrist mobility. So what you may want to do here is kind of make fists out of your hands. Do little H shapes in one direction, little A shapes in the other. Good, so now we're going to start connecting that kind of core strength with upper body and arm strength. And then a little bit with the buttocks. And for that, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. We want to make sure the hands are really roughly underneath the shoulders, that the elbows are just ever so slightly bent so that they're soft. So it's the muscles that are doing the work and not kind of joints. You're going to bring your feet as wide as your mat or as wide as your arms. And you're going to lift just one foot. And now, 2 things that are really important. Again, check that you're in one line. Your hips, your head
or in one line, your knees. So again, that's where a mirror or a piece of glass might be useful. And you want to try and make sure to have as much weight on both arms. And I generally hold this for about 15 to 20 seconds. Then I put the foot down, mat width, and I do the other side. Checking again, am I in long line? Between head, shoulders, pelvis, knees. Is there weight on my left arm, on my right arm evenly? And then I gently take a little moment to wiggle or stretch. I'll often do this exercise twice. You can choose for yourself whether once is enough, and then you build it up over the course of time. And then the variation that also connects upper arm, upper back, upper chest to core and glutes is the following one. So here your feet about hip width apart. Again, check that you're in one long line. And then you're going to bend just one foot and lift the foot up to the ceiling. And you're going to make tiny little kind of push up movements, tiny, tiny little ones. I do about 15 to 20 depending on the days. Again, I'll just do 10 here for the sake of demonstration. Take a little moment, check again, one long line, bend the other knee, lift the foot to the ceiling, and do the little push-ups. And this one I also tend to do twice. Okay, so you're probably already feeling like warm in places, like places have worked. Maybe you already feel a little bit of like strength coming into the body. Now I would like to do the whole of the back body to finish up this sequence. And the other segments will add specific parts of the back body. But now it's kind of a long muscular line of strength that we're going to build up. So you come down onto your belly. And here you want to have a bit of space between your feet. You can see that I have my legs about hip width apart. And I'm going to lengthen both legs just ever so slightly more. And I'm going to spread my toes. I'm going to try and push all of my toes down onto the mat. Now, I'm going to put my upper body down. Excuse me. Stretch my arms long and forward. And just like I have every single toe spread and pressing down, trying to keep the legs super long, I'm also going to try and spread the arms long and then to spread the fingers wide. Now we're going to create a curling up movement through the belly, the chest, and finally the neck. But the last thing that moves up is the head. And you're going to imagine that with your hands and arms, you're pulling something super heavy back towards the mat and yourself, and then you're pushing it away. Keep your legs super long, keep your toes super wide as you do this movement, maybe 5 times, maybe more if you'd like. So imagine that it's the arms and the thing that you're pulling back that's making you curl up. And only go as high up as feels good for you. And try to go forward, pushing something slowly and steadily. And important for the lower back to stay pretty healthy. Keep those legs long, strong, lengthening back and toe spreading. And then let's just stay up for a little moment. So you're trying to just pull the arms back to yourself, not to push down with the arms, so that it's the whole musculature of the back of your body that's holding you up. And then exhale. Relax and release. Take a little moment. Maybe you need a bit of a wiggle. Maybe you need something to help you release. A few sighs. Just for a moment, shake it out. Feel it. How does it feel? Where does my body feel more connected, combined body parts? Where does it feel stronger or warmer? Just have a little moment to enjoy that first. Things always take longer demonstrating than they actually do doing. So this sequence should probably take you about 5 to 7 minutes.